Happening today in Washington, the president and vice president, they met with leaders of Congress just 4 days ahead of a deadline to avoid a partial government shutdown.
Now, Friday's deadline is urgent, and so is sending aid for Ukraine, according to President Biden during that afternoon meeting. WENY Washington correspondent Brendan Scanlon is live on Capitol Hill with more on this tonight. Good evening, Brendan.
Good evening. Yeah, that's right. Today's meeting was kind of two-pronged. It comes as the situation in Ukraine gets more dire by the day, and it also comes just 4 days ahead of a major government funding deadline to avoid a partial government shutdown. Now, we're told it was an intense but productive meeting earlier today in the White House.
I want to thank the leadership being here today. We got a lot of work to do.
Today, a high-stakes meeting between President Joe Biden and leaders of Congress.
I think the consequences of inaction every day in Ukraine are dire.
The meeting to discuss the national security bill and a crucial government funding deadline was productive, according to leaders, but also intense.
The meeting on Ukraine was one of the most intense I have ever encountered in my many meetings in the Oval Office.
The House has yet to take up the Senate's $95 billion national security bill, which includes $60 billion to assist Ukraine.
We said to the Speaker, get it done. It's in his hands.
It was frank and honest. I think we need more frank and honest conversations on Capitol Hill.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says his goal heading into the meeting was to prioritize America's needs.
When you talk about America's needs, you have to talk first about our open border. I believe the president can take executive authority right now today to change that. It's time for action. It is a catastrophe, and it must stop.
In the meeting, leaders expressed cautious optimism about avoiding a partial government shutdown. But many conservative House members are calling on Speaker Johnson to hold out for more spending cuts, which could cause a shutdown. Pressure from Democrats to keep the government open is also mounting as the clock ticks closer toward Friday's deadline.
Unfortunately, we've had a lot of challenges with the new speaker. He doesn't seem to have his sea legs yet. He's been unable to govern and get votes on the simplest things, even though they're widely bipartisan in the Senate, such as the national security bill we passed.
And Renata and Nick, Speaker Mike Johnson said after the meeting that he believes leaders can find some agreement to avoid that partial shutdown on Friday, whether that means another short-term stopgap measure or actually finalizing a series of appropriations bills. We're going to have to wait and see, but we should know in the next couple of days. Reporting live on Capitol Hill for WENY News, I'm Brendan Scanlon. Renata and Nick, back to you.